Hello everyone, and welcome to the first of what may become a series of weekly CosmoCam videos. CosmoCam Home Edition. I'm going to try to give you guys a little bit more of an update on a consistent basis to let you know what's going on with me and my adventures, whatever might be happening in racing, maybe some fun stuff in my personal life, whatever it might be, but it's going to happen here. YouTube, this is happening, Instagram, whatever, social media. You name it, I'm out there. But I wanted to just fill you guys in on everything that's been happening. And that's been a whole lot of nothing. Unfortunately, I did not race in the 24-hour of Daytona last week, but I certainly did tune in and watch everything that happened with this amazing new era that we are witnessing with the GTP category and the evolution of the GTD and GTD Pro categories and all the manufacturer involvement that's taking place there. Racing, in my opinion, is at an all-time high. I mean, the grids in every series, everywhere on the planet, are at almost maximum capacity. Whether it's Lamborghini Super Trofeo, any Porsche Carrera Cup, any of the one-make series that race on support events for the big series themselves, you see what's going on with all the news in IMSA, in WEC, in European Le Mans Series, the Asian Le Mans Series, you name it, SRO, everywhere, it's all happening. And in my opinion, this is like the golden era of racing that we are going to remember years down the road because there's just so much happening, so much interest in the sport. It's really incredible. So it's been fun to witness. Super disappointing. I did not race in the 24 last week. 2023 does mark the 20th year of my professional sports car racing career. After racing probably, let's say, maybe 10 years of go-karts, Formula Ford, Formula 2000, Star Mazda, Toyota Atlantics, and winning most of the championships I competed in throughout that whole process, 2003 was my very first year in sports car racing, and the very first race was the Rolex 24 at Daytona, which happened to be the first race that they brought out the Daytona prototype category. So that was a category that back then Grand Am had created and lasted for a very long time. I was really fortunate to have raced with so many different teams and drivers and different brands of cars, chassis and engine combinations, all of those years. Something I am going to go into a little bit more detail down the road about, but to have 2023 mark my 20th year as a professional in the industry, as a racing driver and a driving coach, somebody who has very appreciatively made a living doing this for the past 20 years as my primary and sole source of income. I have a lot to reflect on and I have a lot to be thankful for, and I'm just not done yet. Got so much more racing in me, so much more enthusiasm and excitement, and obviously now I'm armed with all the experience that I've had after all of these years, having raced in every category under the sun and all of sports car racing. So I'm ready to go. Got these guns, got these babies, got all this energy, just need an outlet. Gonna make something happen here. So anyway, I did put out an email newsletter just this morning for those of you who are subscribed to my email newsletter. And for those of you who are not, if you just go to guycosmo.com and on the contact page, probably as soon as you visit the website, there'll be a pop-up and you can subscribe my email newsletter. To just kind of explain some of the things that have been happening lately, talk about that first Rolex 24 at Daytona race that I did in the Daytona Prototypes inaugural event. And first event? Inaugural? Is that the right word? My vocabulary eludes me at the moment. And also talk about how I don't have anything happening at the moment this year that's been confirmed from a racing standpoint. No pro racing confirmed for me at the moment. Very disappointing, but as you guys have seen, if any of you have followed me for the past number of years, you know, I always bounce back and I always find plenty to do with my year, or I should say plenty to do finds me as the year goes along. I'm always coaching on a pretty high level, I would say. I mean, working with a lot of elite gentleman drivers who are looking to race in either one-make series or that are looking to eventually go pro racing. And I have some coaching events this year already earmarked that I will be doing, whether it's in historic racing or some of the one make series. And I'll keep busy and I'll keep at the racetrack, but I do not have any competitive drives aligned for this season just yet. So of course, if any of you out there need a driver coach, need a teammate, need a fill-in, need something, hey, I'm here and I'm ready to go. If any of you have any long-term visions of getting into racing and or getting to the 24-hour of Daytona or whatever it might be, you kind of know it's a bit of an area that guys like myself specialize in. We've been doing this. We have groomed people from, the very beginning all the way up and through the top levels of sports car endurance racing, up to and including the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So yeah, anything can be done, and I'm here to guide you through the process. Hello, my name is Guy Cosmo. Let me be your tour guide in the life of professional sports car racing. Anyway, no glasses because there's giant glare. I happen to pick the house. I picked the room in my house with the least amount of daylight, and I got this light thing going on here, and there's quite a reflection. So instead of dealing with that, I figured I'd just give you the real stuff right here. So one of the fun things I would like to do with these weekly updates is have you guys ask me questions, and then I will take the time to answer them on this platform. And I posted that question to you guys on Instagram and on Facebook, probably a little bit on Twitter. Most of the responses came from you guys that were on Instagram. And if you don't mind, I'll just run through that real quick and answer some questions. So I have the Mr. Sandmeyer from Instagram. Thanks for asking the question. How do I stay prepared for races, whether it's working out or sim racing? Excellent question. Sim racing. You can't see it without me doing all this. My simulator is right behind me. I use my simulator quite a bit at home. It's mostly recreational. Obviously, I've been doing this for a very long time. All of the racetracks in North America I have driven many and many times over. So I am constantly prepared and ready to rip at all times. But to get on the simulator and to drive the tracks, refamiliarize yourself with all the details. I mean, all of these platforms, iRacing, R-Factor 2, you name it, they, Assetto Corsa, Competizione, the tracks are so realistic and they are so accurate that driving these tracks on the simulator is a great refresher for anybody to get themselves, back in the swing of things before they show up at the racetrack in person to get out and begin their weekend. So, time on the simulator, as you guys know, I'm a skinny guy, I'm tall and skinny, so for me, endurance really has never been much of an issue. I do some standard training from a cardiovascular standpoint. I've got an elliptical, I ride bikes on occasion. I'm more so just elliptical and weight training. I've always been skinny, and building strength is something that I continually work on. So I like to weight lift because it's just what works for me and my body. Obviously, I'm not jacked and ripped, but I mean, I'm in the shape I need to be. And for me, I don't have to spend a lot of time doing cardio work because of my genetic makeup. So for me, I really enjoy weightlifting and trying to increase my strength and try to put on some weight so that when the opportunity does arise that I can have a chance to race the prototype cars, neck strength, upper body strength is really important for those cars with all the G-forces they produce. The GT cars, it's more about withstanding the heat, I would say. So when I know I'm going to be racing certain kinds of GT cars throughout the summer months of a racing season, I'll spend a lot more time just getting my body used to sweating, right? Doing the cardio and training your body to dehydrate. Well, you don't want to dehydrate, but to rehydrate. And yeah, that's about it. Simulator time, a lot of psychological preparation. I just spend a lot of time thinking about what I'm going to do for the weekend. And that comes from driving the tracks. It comes from remembering, previous events, looking at old in-car video, watching footage from races that took place there last year, looking at passing zones, where things went well for people, where things did not go well. And when I raced in the Asian Le Mans series years ago, that was a whole new exercise for me because every racetrack I was going to, I had never been to before. So it was a lot of time studying Google Maps and looking at the layout of the racetrack along with the track maps for the facilities, and then obviously the simulator was a huge help. Then you do the track walk on those weekends, and you get yourself prepped and ready. So by the time you strap in and you leave pit lane for the first time, you've got 1, maybe 2 reconnaissance laps to get everything going, make sure the car feels great, and then it's time to perform. So thanks for your question, the Mr. Sandmeyer. The next question I have is from Kathleen Walber. Said, what makes a good or bad teammate or co-driver to work with? And that's also an excellent question. And I have to say, I've been very fortunate for all the years of my career that when I've been in a 2-driver scenario, I've honestly never had any bad teammates. I've never had anyone that I was in the same car with or in a sister car that we didn't get along or that we really struggled or had any kind of trouble. And you hear about these things a lot. You see it a lot in professional sports. I don't know. I think maybe there's just a lot of race car drivers that love life just like I do and are so happy to do what they do that fortunately I've had some really great experiences with some really fabulous teammates who have just been wonderful people and have such a great zest for the sport. Had some big disparities in how we go about doing what we do throughout a race weekend, but at the end of the day, the principles are all the same. So I would say what makes a good teammate is somebody who is willing to collaborate. I've heard all of these horror stories about guys that would start competing against each other within the team, and if they were especially in the same car, that somebody would go out and do some hot laps, and before they got out of the car to turn it over to their teammate, they would crank the brake bias like a ton to really try to screw up the driver going in the car next. And that's just downright dirty and, in my opinion, completely unacceptable, completely unprofessional, and something that works against the team making progress as a whole. Anytime it comes down to the 2 drivers competing and the forefront of everyone's focus is not on advancement as a group altogether, you're out of there. You're not in it for the team, you're only in it for yourself. You shouldn't be there at all. That's my opinion. Otherwise, somebody fun to work with is just somebody that's willing to, like I said, collaborate and just doesn't take all of this too seriously. Obviously, we're professionals, we have to be focused, we need to be very serious about what we do, but you have to do it in a manner that encourages and inspires people, and the process needs to be enjoyable. And I truly believe that when it's a happy environment, everyone's going to be more productive. So that's my take on that. Thanks for your question. I'll try to do a couple more here and wrap this up. I know we're 12 minutes in, lengthy CosmoCam. I'm not sure everybody's up how long these videos should be. But Sean McCaskill, my favorite racing moments from racing history and not necessarily personal ones. Ooh. Sean, this is a good one, but one that I might have to spend a little more time focusing on in next week's CosmoCam, because that is a great question, and I did not prepare for that right now. So I'm going to get back to you, Sean, but thanks for the question, and yeah, let's revisit that. So the next question is from Burmir Lady on Instagram. Hello from Indonesia. Hello from the United States. Thank you for tuning in, for asking questions. What is the best and worst race cars that you've driven throughout your career? That is a fun question. Let's just start off right away. The worst race car that I raced in competition, and I'm sorry for anyone involved in this, but I think you all knew what was taking place, was the Picchio Daytona prototype from 2003. That very first season of the DPs, this was an Italian chassis, the Picchio. It was run by G&W Motorsports, fantastic team, Cole Scroggum at the helm, wonderful guy. Darren Law and Andy Lally were my teammates, mostly Darren Law that season, Andy for the long races, and I filled in to do a couple when I was with Darren Law there, and that car was terrible. None of the DPs were good at that time because it was a brand new category, but I have to say that car was absolutely horrific in many ways. Scary, unstable, extremely difficult to drive. The power steering broke all the time. Wasn't that pretty? It was a yellow car with black polka dots. I don't know if any of you guys remember that, but it's one that I will never forget. And I have to say, I'm thankful things have evolved since then. PKO did produce a lot of great race cars and a lot of great sports prototypes for club racing and whatnot. I mean, they were a good car manufacturer, but that whole DP thing in the beginning wasn't for everybody. And then the day that I got to drive the Riley Daytona prototype, you understand why they have so much success, because that car was fantastic. My favorite cars to race, all of these years with everything that I've done, I have had the most fun in all of my career racing the LMP2 cars. Obviously, I grew up with the karting and open wheel background. It's what truly speaks to my soul. And when I get in these prototypes, it is just like being in the old open wheel cars. It's a race car by nature, not a passenger car that was then transformed into a race car. It's a purpose-built Le Mans prototype, and the level of downforce and the precision of the car, the tight response of it, and just the overall performance. I like going fast. So give me a fast race car and I'm gonna be happy. But yeah, the prototypes were my absolute favorite, still are. And I think everybody knows I love racing GT cars. I do so much of it, and I love to race any chance I get. But you know, you give me an opportunity to race in the prototypes, and that's where I'm going to be truly satisfied, and my soul will be as happy as could be. So there's a lot of other really awesome cars I've driven. As you guys know, I had an opportunity to race I had an opportunity to drive a Ferrari Formula One car. This was 10, 11 years ago now, thanks to my good friend Bud Moeller, who owned the car at the time, and he raced or drove the car in the F1 Cliente program with Ferrari, and he gave me 4 laps in that car at Laguna Seca, and it was probably the most incredible 4 laps of my life. So yeah, it was like being strapped to a missile. Like if you could imagine learning how to fly in a Cessna or something, and then somebody gives you the chance to fly an F-16, that's what it was like. It was absolutely incredible. And I do have actually on my website, guycosmo.com. If you go there, you will see on the media section somewhere, I typed up this whole blog, this whole story about my experience that day. And I also had a number of cameras strapped to the car. So there's a whole video with the entire process of me getting strapped in, leaving pit lane, did not stall it with that hand clutch that the car had, and the progression of each of my laps as I did that 4-lap run at Laguna Seca in that 2003 Rubens Barrichello Ferrari F1 car. And that was probably the single most incredible experience of my life in racing terms, because of course my wife will watch this and also say, what about our wedding day? And I would say, you are right, honey. That was the single greatest day of my life. In addition to the day our son was born. I've nailed him. I've nailed the top 3. Driving an F1 car, getting married, having my kid. So there you go. Anyway, wow, I am like 18 minutes into this video. Really sorry for those of you who didn't have all the time for this. Super thank you to all of you who did watch and watch to the end here. Do me a big favor, please. I'm just trying to get all this stuff going and have some fun with you guys. So subscribe to the channel, pass it along to your friends and social media, help me out. Let's get this out there. Let's have a lot of fun with this. Ask me questions every week. I'm going to be posting on social media so that you guys could, we'll pick a topic each week, have you guys ask me questions about all kinds of stuff. And I'm going to try to get to more of these in a little bit more of a clear and concise and maybe efficient fashion. Maybe I'll try to be less wordy, but if I did, I wouldn't be me. I have a lot to say. I have a lot of enthusiasm for all of this and for you guys. So I appreciate you tuning in. I guess down below in the descriptions, I'm going to put in links to various websites. I'll put in a link to the Ferrari F1 test drive that I had, and I'm going to also have some onboard footage and all kinds of stuff. One of the other questions we had was for the evolution of the design of my helmet, which was super awesome question. I believe that was Anthony Florio. And I'm going to do that on the next one as well. I'll have all my helmets because I have them all out in the garage in a bin out there. And I can show you guys the very first helmet that I had versus the significant evolutions that I've had over the years to get to where my helmet design is today. Anyway, again, thank you so much. Talk to you soon.